If there is one name synonymous with wealth, lavish lifestyles, and hotel properties, it's Trump. For decades, Donald Trump projected his name onto casinos and golf courses, and in doing so, he secured the reputation of a rich businessman. But the Trumps probably aren't worth as much as you think. When Donald Trump was expanding his real estate career, he reportedly borrowed money from his father and his future inheritance. In a 2007 deposition, Donald fessed up and admitted that he had borrowed more than $9 million from his inheritance to save him from financial disaster. And we think it's hard to ask our parents for a little bit of grocery money.
Well, hell, since you mentioned it, let me have $10.
I'll be damned. I'll die and go to hell and play blackjack with the devil before I give you $10.
As reported by the Washington Post, Fred Christ Trump, Donald's father, was one of the wealthiest men in America because of his middle-class apartment buildings in Queens and Brooklyn. He tasked his son with expanding the family's interests in Manhattan. In the 1970s, the New York Times wrote a glowing profile of Trump where he said, on the record, that he was worth $200 million. According to Trump's finances, examined by the Casino Control Commission in 1981, he had a salaried income of about $76,000 in 1975. The following year, he reportedly made $25,000, and in 1977, he made about $118,000. And not dissimilar to his tax tactics later on in his career, Trump managed to not pay income taxes in both 1978 and 1979. Looking back, Trump's claim that he was worth so many millions was pretty absurd. He was only 30 at the time, and given that he still worked as an officer for his father's business, the claim doesn't seem likely. Still, he told Newsweek in 1987, quote, "There is no one my age who has accomplished more." But as reported by the New York Times, when Donald was telling anyone who could listen that he was sitting on a pile of cash, his businesses were reportedly suffering.
Oh, that's $220 million for the office building.
From 1986 to 1988, the Times reported, Trump made millions of dollars in the stock market by suggesting that he was about to take over companies. But it looks like all his talk caught up with him eventually because the figures show that he lost most, if not all, of those gains after investors stopped taking his takeover talk seriously.
We're talking to Donald Trump today, who is the very definition of the American success story.
The business deal that put Donald Trump on people's radar was the 1978 building of the Grand Hyatt Hotel. But without his father, Donald would likely never have been able to make the deal stick, something that the president has tended to keep out of the official story. As reported by the Washington Post, a nearly $1 million loan from Fred's company was a big part of Donald's deal. The loan, quote, helped repay draws on a Chase Manhattan credit line that Fred Trump had arranged for his son as he built the hotel. But Fred's involvement didn't stop there. After years of being investigated for abuses related to real estate and profits, Fred wasn't loved in the New York business community, so his son acted as the frontman for the Grand Hyatt deal, the Washington Post noted. When Donald Trump announced his candidacy for president in 2015, his finances became such a heated area of interest, in part due to his claim that he was worth $10 billion. Yet throughout the campaign, he maintained that he started his career with a small $1 million loan from his father and accomplished everything else on his own.
It's a relatively small investment for me.
But as reported by the Wall Street Journal, that was not the case, and Trump's story omits significant additional loans and gifts Mr. Trump received in the early years when he was building his real estate empire. The Wall Street Journal reviewed a casino license disclosure document from 1985, which proved that Trump had borrowed a large amount of money from his father and his father's real estate properties in the 1970s and 1980s. By the time the disclosure was documented, Trump owed his father roughly $14 million. According to the Washington Post, the casino document revealed that he had received a $7.5 million loan from his father that still hadn't been paid off by 1981. Donald's real estate career boomed from there, and due in part to his political connections, he's received $885 million in tax breaks in the New York area, according to the New York Times in 2016.
It's wrong, isn't it?
But it feels so right.
Then it's a deal?
Yes, we eat our pizza the wrong way.
Crust first.
For all the money that Donald Trump claims to have, not a lot of it seems to have gone to his third wife, Melania Trump. Melania has used her own business ventures to cultivate the wealth that she does have. So how did she rack up her own net worth while her husband was wheeling and dealing his way through the real estate world? Melania used the Trump name to launch her own companies, including her own jewelry line. She also monopolized on her modeling background and scored magazine cover shoots for publications like Vanity Fair and Harper's Bazaar. She even made it into an Aflac commercial in 2005. But some of Melania's business ventures collapsed, including her watch line and her skincare line. Despite those setbacks, Melania appears to have a solid nest egg. According to the South China Morning Post, she is worth approximately $50 million.
If you're hurt and can't work, Aflac can help pay your bills with cash.
Genius! And her? Aflac!
One of the Trump children, Ivanka Trump, has made perhaps the biggest name for herself in the business world.
Who is his favorite?
I'm going with Ivanka. I'm going with Ivanka.
As noted by the New York Times, Ivanka's fashion business was pulling in about $75 million from its sales in 2013. Ivanka was likely receiving about 7% of the wholesale revenues, according to Forbes. The publication stated, that means her fashion line income could have topped $10 million per year before taxes and expenses at the height of her brand's popularity. Unfortunately, the fashion line came to an end, in part due to her father's turbulent political career.
This is it's a wonderful line. I own some of it. I'm going to give a free commercial here. Go buy it today, everybody. You can find it online.
By the second year of the Trump presidency, her fashion line was said to have tanked in sales. By July of 2018, Ivanka announced that she would be closing the business. Forbes estimated her and her husband's combined net worth at about $375 million in 2017. Donald Trump Jr. tried to follow in his father's footsteps by creating a career in business investments. But as noted by Forbes, he has a, quote, mixed track record to show for his time as a businessman. Forbes notes that the younger Donald has pursued several property investments which ultimately failed, some to the tune of several $1 million. The outlet reported that Donald Trump took over one property's debt and then foreclosed, bailing his son out. The president quietly sold the building, which had a history of roof leaks and environmental contamination, in February 2018 for $4.1 million. He is also tied to several companies which are connected to Gentry Beach, a money manager based in Dallas. As noted by Forbes, Beach is a close friend to Don Jr. and has worked as a fundraiser for Donald Trump's presidency. Beach and Don Jr. have also worked together as business partners, but their efforts apparently washed up as they reportedly lost $200,000 after investing in a dry oil well in Texas. Whoops.
This isn't about oil.
Well, that's good because there isn't any.
One of the less conspicuous Trumps is Eric, who has largely kept out of the spotlight unless accompanying his father on the campaign trail. Even then, Eric Trump has saved a lot of money due to his father's financial dealings, and he and his brother are reportedly both worth $25 million. As noted by Forbes, Eric lives by New York's Central Park in a penthouse that is made up of 4 units. But The Real Deal reported that he purchased 2 at a huge discount, as the units are located in Donald Trump's Park East building. According to New York City filings, Eric has stakes in the Trump Hotel located in Washington, D.C., and the Trump Winery located in Virginia. The winery's website says that the company is run by Eric Trump Wine Manufacturing, LLC, although Forbes pointed out, Albemarle County land records and the president's financial disclosure form make it clear his father actually owns the property. So Eric hasn't necessarily gotten up to some of the flop deals that his brother has, or had to close his business like his sister, but he isn't as in charge as some appearances suggest. Tiffany Trump is the only child that Donald Trump had with his second wife Marla Maples, and People reported that as a result, the father and daughter didn't spend a lot of time together during Tiffany's childhood. Since being propelled into the spotlight due to her father's presidency, Tiffany has come under a lot of scrutiny, in part because of rumors that her father plays favorites among his children. Her reported net worth of $10 million, much less than her older brothers and sister, may be the result of that reportedly strained relationship. Things really hit the fan when a personal assistant to Donald Trump spoke to reporters, saying that Donald hated being photographed with Tiffany. The assistant then said that she had a better relationship with Donald than his daughters did, as noted by Politico.
Tiffany is great. I love Tiffany.
Thanks to the investigative work of the New York Times, Clarity about Donald Trump's taxes came to light in September 2020, and one of the biggest revelations was a $72.9 million tax refund, which he claimed after, quote, declaring huge losses. Donald has been in a decade-long audit battle with the IRS over the tax refund because, according to the Times, a ruling not in his favor could cost him more than $100 million that he would have to pay back. As noted by the Times, his reports to the IRS portray a businessman who takes in hundreds of millions of dollars a year, yet racks up chronic losses that he aggressively employs to avoid paying taxes. No wonder Donald Trump has tried to keep his taxes out of the public eye for so long. The Times reported that in 1985, Donald Trump's core businesses reported a loss of $46.1 million, and across the entire decade, the losses amounted to a whopping $1.17 billion. The Times also concluded that Donald seemed to have, quote, lost more money than nearly any other individual American taxpayer.
Look at me! I lost everything.
By reporting more financial losses than gains, Trump reportedly avoided paying income tax for years, something that he has bragged about.
I pay as little as possible. I fight like hell to pay as little as possible.
When ABC News asked what his tax rate was, Trump said, quote, it's none of your business. After digging into Trump's taxes, the New York Times concluded that Donald Trump had paid only $750 in federal income taxes in the year he won the White House and paid another $750 in his first year as president.
I win.
You always win.
Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more list videos about your favorite celebs are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.